Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself. Well, normally I don't, but once again, Mike is out earning that dollar bill, y'all. So it's got me here with you on this fine hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Oh, gotta love hump day. Definitely gotta love hump day. And fortunately, a hump day isn't the same, once again, without Mike. But this is the day, folks, that what we do is we try to begin the weekend. And sometimes we do it with success, sometimes not. But the fun is all in the trying. Well, Mike, once again, out there earning that dollar bill, y'all, clearly has not begun the weekend yet. So, Mike, this one's for you, buddy. We will have a good time. We'll try to have a good time in your absence. In order to do that, first thing we got to do is we got to start off by thanking our sponsors. And that would be, let's see, we'll start off here with Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you're looking for a rifle length or pistol length barrel, hey, they're the folks to go to. If you've bought an AR in the last 5 years, there's a good chance you already have one of their barrels. So why stop there? Why not purchase more? Or, you can do a new build, or you can actually, re-barrel your current rifle. Whatever you decide to do, check them out there at hitmanindustries.net. Then there's the California Republican Assembly. Ronald Reagan referred to them as the conscience of the Republican Party, helping to elect conservatives from school board all the way up to President of the United States. It is the fastest growing and largest conservative grassroots organization in the state of California. Please check them out. Be a part of California's future today. Visit them at cragop.org. Then we've got the folks over at Hog Holsters. That's hogholsters.com. Get your concealed carry inside the waistband holster today. Just go to hogholsters.com. All you got to do is use that discount code, The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get your discount today. And finally, we have our good friends over at that was real easy for me to say, wasn't it? We've got our good friends over at uscombatgear.com. That's uscombatgear.com. It's the place to go. If you're looking for any sort of outdoor gear or tactical gear, if you're looking for headgear, helmets, if you're looking for backpacks, if you're looking for gloves, if you're looking for shoes, tactical pants, you name it, they have it there, and they'll have it at great prices, veteran owned and operated. Please check them out today, uscombatgear.com. All right, I guess everyone right now is talking, everyone is pretty much talking State of the Union address. And that's what I kind of wanted to hit on today. Because as I watched it, it was a little bit more like the State of Fantasyland. I mean, the number of either key issues that were not discussed by the president last night, or that were completely and utterly misrepresented by the president last night were numerous. It was over an hour-long speech, and in this, he wasted absolutely no time going into and beating up, let me clarify. He did start off trying to be nice and conciliatory. He congratulated Kevin McCarthy for becoming the new speaker. Of course, at the same time, he then turned right around and gave a shout out to Nancy. But it was sickening, the number of things that he was talking about, the number of things that he was lying about. First and foremost amongst that had to do with, some of the things that he said regarding the economy. And I thought it was interesting that even The Hill had to fact check some of his claims relating to the economy. Like, for example, one of the things he lied about was the deficit. Now, on the deficit, he said that he had cut the deficit more than any other president. He cut the deficit $1.7 trillion. He talked about the reduction in the deficit. What he failed to point out was that the deficit that he cut was from his own spending. The spending that was before that was from Donald Trump. And basically, it was a lot of money that went out to help address the issue of COVID-19 spending, relief checks, stuff like that. But since then, he proceeded to spend more money than any of his predecessors. Period. Point blank. There's absolutely no mistaking that he was the cause of massive deficits. And then he decided to tout that he reduced it. But what was also funny about that was that he didn't reduce it as much as he could have, because once again, he followed that up, whatever cutting he did, he followed up with increased spending. So he wound up actually spending about $800 billion more than he probably should have, or than he probably really had to. He could have cut spending even more, but once again, chose not to. The other thing that he lied about had to do with jobs, and he took credit for adding 12 million jobs. Now, you know this because we've talked about this before. There were a lot of people who lost jobs because of inflation. I mean, not because of government shutting businesses down during COVID. Now, it wasn't largely Republican companies or Republican governors who were shutting down those businesses. It was Democratic governments. It's places like California and New York and Michigan, states controlled by Democrats who decided that they were going to shut down, cause thousands of people to lose their business, cause hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people to lose their jobs as a result. They shut it all down. So the fact that once COVID was over, and despite what he says, the COVID. Despite the fact that his emergency powers from COVID are not going to end until May, COVID's been over. But when COVID went over, people went back to work. You don't get to take credit for all those jobs. In fact, the number of jobs that he created was less than 10% of that number, right? Probably closer to 1 million job increase that he could actually, and quite frankly, not even really him, but were actually added to the economy. Were added to the economy during his administration. So there you go. There is that. Then let's talk about inflation and rising costs. He had the nerve to say that inflation was already up, that it was already high, that gas prices were already high when he took office. Now, I can flat out tell you right now that is a bold-faced lie. Gases in California were around $2, maybe $2.30, somewhere around there. A year after he took office, now, let's say a year. Between the time he took office and the war in Ukraine started up, gas prices had already gone up $1.50, meaning that they were already up something like 70% nationwide, including here in the state of California. So they had already gone up by like 70% here in the state of California. And then they went up another $1.50 or more during that time, during that time that he blames on inflation, or he blames it on the war. Now we're looking at, he's talking about, gas prices went down. Yeah, they went down a couple of months ago, but guess what? They're right back up. They're up over $4, or like $4.20 something here in the state of California, and that's in areas where it's cheap. At one point, gases were up around $7, so $4 doesn't sound nearly that bad. But anyway, the point that I'm making here, folks, is that he is flat out lying about the economy. He's flat out lying about his role in the economy and the things, once again, that he did. But then again, do we really expect less from Joe Biden? Do we really expect him not to be a lying piece of feces? No, we do. But we knew the number one thing he was going to do was he was going to try and take credit for the economy, and we know he doesn't deserve that credit. Now, he got heckled in part for that, right? He got heckled for that, and then you have Jeffries. Now, when I say heckled, here's actually what happened. By the way, I'll show you the thing here because I want you to see this. It was over at the Daily Beast. They say Jeffries, this is the Democrat, the new leader, the minority leader there in the House. He said that they are unfit to serve. Now, mind you, keep in mind, Nancy Pelosi tore up Donald Trump's State of the Union address. Tore it up right there in front of his face. You want to talk about a lack of decorum. You had a number of Democrats that actually just refused to go because they said he was an illegitimate president. Mr. John Lewis called him till the day he died, referred to Donald Trump as an illegitimate president. I'm sorry, but no, you don't get any credit for decorum, Mr. Minority Leader. Right now they're saying here that, he said that he should follow a code. He says, Jeffries right here says that he should follow a code of ethics, right? He says, President Biden delivered a compelling speech outlining a vision to make life better for everyday Americans. No, what he put together was a set of lies that have nothing to do with, reality. And just so you know, the reason I want you to see the reason why they booed him. And the reason why they booed him had overwhelmingly to do with, it had to do with claims about Social Security and Medicare. Now, I'll lay this out there to you for those of you who didn't watch it. He basically started claiming that Republicans want to end Medicare, that they want to end Social Security. Anybody who watches the news, anybody who pays any attention to the news has seen Kevin McCarthy. He's been on every outlet, every news channel, every radio show that would have him on, and he has made it very, very clear. Social Security and Medicare are off the table. They are not going to be cut. They are not a bargaining chip. They are not a bargaining tool. Now, we'll talk about if that's a good or a bad thing. But the point of it was that the president was lying. And he was lying on Republicans. And so Republicans decided to say, hey, no, lie. You are a liar. BS. That is BS. And, we get this all the time as conservatives. Whenever you have the left has the microphone, they don't share the microphone. They feel like because they have the microphone, it gives them a license to lie. And in this particular case, there were enough people there who were like, no, we are not going to allow you to get away with that lie. Now, the president did say, if any of you doubt it, contact my office and I'll send you a copy of the proposal. And I called the White House. I still don't have a copy of the proposal. I've emailed the White House. I still don't have a copy of the proposal. You'd think if he was going to make a promise like that, he would. Now, the proposal was, and here's basically what it was. Last year, Rick Scott, who is from the state, he's a senator from the state of Florida, did put out a plan outlining a number of things as he was trying to seek eventually the speakership or the leadership of the Republican Senate caucus. He outlined a number of things, and one of the proposals that he had was a sunset on all government programs, a 5-year sunset. That's the sunset that they're talking about. Now, he did not specifically mention Social Security or Medicare as a part of that sunset. So to say that that's what he was talking about is disingenuous. There has been talk about the fact that in a relatively short period of time, and when I say a short period of time, we're talking within the next 12 to 15 years, unless something is done, both Medicare and Social Security are going to be in danger of being insolvent. Now, if we do absolutely nothing, they will go insolvent. Other than taking a look at how we handle that, the only other way, and how we handle benefits, like when you get it or anything like that, at what age you get it, and all of that stuff, unless we take a look at that and adjust some of that, what Republicans have been saying is the only other way in which to address the insolvency are massive tax increases. And those massive tax increases are going to be on those who are currently working. Right? There you go. I mean, it's really not that hard to figure out. And that's what Republicans have said. Now, mind you, Republicans and Democrats alike agree that something has to be done. Democrats simply want massive tax increases. Republicans want to see some sort of an adjustment. Maybe some of the costs can be absorbed if there are cuts in other areas. But to say we're not going to talk about any cuts and debate any cuts whatsoever, and that's what the president has said. He's flat out said, I'm not coming to the negotiating table at all, and we're not taking a look at how we're going to address Social Security at all. Well, guess what? He is setting Social Security up to fail. And I think anyone who's reasonably and rationally minded will kind of agree that that is in fact the case. But then again, that's all part of the lies, the sycophantish lies that the president gets away with. Another area where the president gets away with these kind of, once again, I'll call them sycophantish lies, has to do with guns. That's right. Biden did talk guns during the State of the Union. He talked policing and guns. And the interesting thing about his whole conversation relating to it is, number one, he didn't talk at all about the drastic increase in crime in the United States. Said absolutely nothing about it. He did bring up the issue of police use of force. But in that, he did not mention that his fellow Democrats failed to pass any sort of reform. Matter of fact, Democrats were in control of both houses of the legislature, and they could not pass a thing. Republicans, via Tim Scott, put forth a plan that would have made things like the chokehold illegal. It would have made it. So that there would be a database. It would have put it in law that there would be a database of law enforcement officers who were fired for cause, so that other entities, before they hired them, would be able to take a look at them. There are a number of different reforms that were included there. The one thing that they refused to include, but they were at least willing to have a conversation about, was the issue of qualified immunity. Now, qualified immunity simply says that if an officer breaks the law or violates department policy or violates your constitutional rights, they do not have immunity, right? But those things have to be in place first. They have to have violated one of those things. Here's the thing they don't tell you about it is, like, consider the fact that politicians have full immunity. Politicians don't have qualified immunity. So, for example, when they pass laws that release violent criminals from jail, and those criminals go out and kill someone, they harm someone, they rob from someone, steal from someone, they rape someone, the politician who passed the bill that allowed them to be out on the streets bears absolutely zero liability. None. The government who passed that law, the legislative body, they bear zero responsibility, thus, therefore, zero accountability. Right? That's that. Anyway, he didn't talk about that at all. He didn't talk about the crisis at the southern border, except to say, well, Republicans need to approve the funding that I've asked for to provide border security. No. You haven't asked for money for border security. What you said was, in your budget, in the money you were asking for in that spending plan, you said none of this money can go towards border security. None of it can go to help build a wall. It can only go for agents to help process those entering the country. In other words, for people, it can go to pay for agents who are going to then administer the process of people entering the country illegally, so that we can bring them in, put them in the system, and then tell them, go now, be free. You're not a U.S. citizen. You're not here legally, but we're going to let you stay. And that's exactly what it is. It's like saying we're going to cut crime by eliminating a bunch of things that are crimes. That's what they say they're going to do. And that's what he believes is, quote unquote, supporting our southern border. But in any case, this whole thing was, in fact, beyond a joke. To be quite frank with you, it was beyond a joke. It was, once again, clear evidence, that he is living in a state of fantasy land. And that, folks, will then take us to our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. That's hogholsters.com. Go and get your Hog Holster today. All you got to do is go there to hogholsters.com. Make sure you use discount code TheRundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your holster today. All right, this first one, well, in honor of the State of the State of the Union. This one here, it's got a picture of Joe Biden, and it says it's all about priorities. In the Democrats' 2023 State of the Union address, Biden spends as much time advocating LGBT and transgender rights as he did talking about China invading our airspace and studying how good or how bad we can detect objects they send over. Nothing about the border or fentanyl drug crisis. Now, I will say this. He did mention the fentanyl crisis. He talked about the number of people that were dying from fentanyl, but then at the same time, did not say anything about the fact that, yeah, almost 99% of the fentanyl in this country is coming through our southern border via those who are entering our country illegally, because he refuses to close the southern border. There, I said it. He refused. That's what he refused to say. There's another one here that was actually a very odd moment, and that was when the first lady and the second gentleman, decided to have a kiss as they were introduced. And here you got a guy here at the bottom taking odds. He says, "Who had the first lady and the second gentleman making out at the State of the Union speech?" I honestly did not have that one, but if you were playing State of the Union bingo and that was on your card, well, lucky you. You did a very good job. All right, and the last one. Once again, he very barely, if at all, mentioned crime, and there's a reason why he did not mention crime, and that's because it's purely in the hands of the Democrats. It's clearly their fault. This one right here, and this is from the Daily Signal, it says, "Crime is down. If you live in a state not run by a Democrat." And then according to the Daily Signal, 27 of the top 30 crime-ridden cities are run by Democrats. That's just the truth, y'all. Truth hurts. That is sad, but it is, in fact, true. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. But before we do, we're going to give a final shout out to our sponsors. We'll start with Hitman Industries. You'll find them at hitmanindustries.net. Go get your rifle and pistol barrels today. California Republican Assembly. Become a part of California's future today. Go to cragop.org. Become a member today. Finally, get your holster, your concealed carry holster at hogholsters.com. Remember to use the discount code, The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. And finally, for all your outdoor and tactical gear, the place to go is uscombatgear.com. And on that note, we're going to call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully with our good friend, Mikey P, with us. But if not, hey, you know what? We'll have a good time just like we always do. On that note, we'll see you tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday. Peace out.